Uh, so we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time. So we'll have to prepare for the next one. That.
All right, first and foremost, I start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, the honest apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who rule well and also taught me this truth. Shalom to you fellow Akim out there pushing the truth and sincerity and use your body as a living sacrifice, as the scriptures say. I'm Kara of Children of the Light with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. You know, and like we've been telling y'all, man, you know, we in Jacob's trouble. These things are gonna happen, and they're happening fast, and they're happening in our lifetime. And like the apostles say, we only have months left of this. You see what they doing with the flock camera, the digital ID, the Lyme disease with the bioengineered ticks, you know, and all of this is the weapons of the Lord's indignation. Remember Isaiah, 34 or 54? Isaiah 54. Bear with me. Is it 54? Might be 34. Yeah. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, that bringeth forth an instrument for his works, and I have created the waster to destroy. The waster to destroy. And it goes into the modern day scientists, mainly Oppenheimer. Operation Paperclip allowed the U.S. to go into Germany to give their scientists clemency, you know, freedom from persecution, to come over and to be scientists for the benefit of Babylon, you know, and that's what ultimately brought forth the atomic bomb, which is Oppenheimer, you know, splitting the atom, you know, and he said, I become the destroyer of worlds, you know, a quote from, what's the guy named Bhagavad, you know, but also the scientists are the ones that's creating the plagues, you know, splicing, you know, mRNA, DNA, you know, attacking certain people, genome, DNA makeup or whatever, you know. And that's the same way with the C-19 and this new Plan D, right? The Hunter's virus, which they say has a 40% mortality, you know, 40% death rate, you know. And then how coincidentally that they've been coming up with a vaccine for this virus the last couple of years, right? And it goes into problem, reaction, solution. We create a problem, the people react, and they already have a solution, you know. But let me go into 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before. See, this is speaking of the new Egypt, which is pursuant to Deuteronomy 28:64 down to 68. You know, entering Egypt again by the way of ships. You know, and that word Egypt goes into the word Mizraim, which means bondage, to be in bondage again, right? We're not in bondage under ancient Egypt. We're in bondage under the new Egypt, you know? That's why you have the Washington Monument, which is nothing but an obelisk. It's an obelisk. It goes back to Egypt. You know, it stands 666 feet tall, you know? It says, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. See, ancient Egypt, the land was not destroyed. But this new Egypt, you know, all the land is going to be destroyed. Bear with me. This is Revelation 11 and 18. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. You know, the whole U.S. is consisted of 50 provinces, which is 50 states, you know, which is considered a great city. Because why? You have to have a citizenship, right? You know, to be a citizen. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. You know, spiritually, Sodom because of the, you know, the Rainbow Coalition, and Egypt because of the hardcore slavery that our people endured, where also our Lord was crucified. And we know damn well that the Lord wasn't crucified neither in Sodom nor Egypt. But it's speaking of this present time, because everything in this system, in this kingdom, goes against the laws, statutes, and it says a land built on the laws of the Bible, but it goes completely against the laws of the Bible. You have a holiday called Christmas, you know, Christ Mass, the anointed execution, you know. All right, so back to 2nd Ezra 15 and 11. Okay, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua shall bring upon it. 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draw near. And that's what all this is ultimately is going to boil into, you know, because of all these plagues, you know, all these viruses, you know, all of these diseases. You're going to have famine, you know, you're going to have blackouts, just like it was in Egypt, you know. What is it? Exodus the 13th chapter. Well, Exodus the 10th chapter, Exodus the 11th chapter, 12th chapter, 13th chapter. Remember, it said, I will hit Egypt again with plagues as before. For the sword and their destruction shall draw near. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And there go your race wars, you know. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go in the city and shall not be able to, right? And that's happening. That was happening during the time of what was that? I want to say the Antifa stuff that was going on in Seattle, where they created those little areas. There was how can I say it, for lack of a better word, that was basically under his own constitution, you know. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, because what's going on right now is a war on resources, a war on electricity, power, oil, you know, and like the scriptures say, is in Sirach the 39th chapter, the principal things, you know, people have to survive off of these things. So when people no longer have access to electricity, you know, water, food, oil, you know, all of their morals go out the window. You know, animal instinct kick in, survival mode kick in, you know. Where is it? Sirach 39:26. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, right? You need water to survive. I believe the body is made up of 70% water. You could correct me if I'm wrong. Fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of grapes, and oil and clothing. Right, these are the things that people need to survive. And this is what the war is currently on. You know, the whole situation with Salakia, gotta raise the window down, it's getting hot in here. The whole thing that's going on in Iran, you know? And what's that going to do to the current world? They're not going to be able to recover from that. So they're going to have to create a new world order, you know? They're going to have to create a new system, you know? To make transactions and to get the supply chain back moving, right? It say all these things are for good to the godly, right? So to the sinners they are turned into evil, and that's what happening. They're turning all of the things that are for good for you, that benefits you, into evil. There are posts out there, information out there, how once this man start micro C-hipping, he's gonna be able to charge people for air, how much oxygen they receive, or how much water they receive. They say it takes millions of gallons of water to operate AI. You know, so then there's gonna be droughts. You know. All right, this is 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in a fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance, right? See, the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, creating all this madness for the vengeance. The vengeance of who? The vengeance of the elect. Well, Israel as a whole, but beginning with the elect. You know? What the scriptures say, but he shall be saved. It is the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved. Because it begins with us, but it's going to end with Esau. Ultimately, Esau Edom is going down because he's the end of worlds. You know, Yahushua is setting up his world. You know? 2nd Ezra 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world. And this word world goes into the word eon, which means era, age. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? So we're at the end of this wicked oppressive system, this beast system, Esau's rulership, beginning with Amalek. You know, Psalms the 83rd chapter. And then we're following up after that into the beginning of the kingdom of heaven, which is Yahushua's kingdom. You know, Yahushua king, the kingdom of the Lord, King David sitting on the throne, and then the governing body, which will be the elect. You know, so back at 2nd Ezra 15, and then I'm gonna close because my lunch break almost over with. Okay, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. Because a lot of the goods that are sent to America, a lot of the goods that Babylon receive come from other parts of the world. So if you have trade and straits, routes that are being choked, you know, or sieged, or the blockade, you know, it's hard for goods to float around the world, right? It's hard for, you know, people to receive the things they need. So you're gonna have a period of hyperinflation where bread is gonna cost you $30, gas might cost you $40, box of cereal might cost you $20. You know, so it says because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. You know, I think it was one more. Oh, I think it's 16. Okay, Con. It say 16 and 5. Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may any one quench the fire in stubble when it had begun to burn? So it's no way of getting around this. You know, it's gonna surely happen. You know. 14. Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. And another thing, if you get bit by a tick, and you receive Lyme disease, and you get Apgar syndrome, you're gonna be allergic to red meat. You're gonna be allergic to meat, period. So how are you gonna participate in the Passover if you can't eat the lamb? You know? So you brothers got to think about this, you know? Pray without ceasing, you know? Because it's here, you know? And just like that, you can be taken out. You know, you get that Lyme disease and now you can't do the Passover. What would you say? What would you say that is, right? That'd be Yahweh Shah casting you out, you know? So stay diligent and vigilant. Remember, it say wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time and salvation. You know, and I paraphrase that all wrong, but you brothers know what I'm talking about. Okay, jump down to 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death. Right? Remember, they said that that Hunter's virus has a 40% mortality rate. Compared to the C19, the C. ragamuffin only had a 1% mortality rate. And you saw how the numbers was popping up all on the side of the screen, 3 million, 4 million, at a 1% mortality rate, right? Imagine at a 40% mortality rate. You see Kill Gates, oh, they thought the first one was something, wait till they see that second one, you know? So with that, I pray you were edified. Until next time, Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah.